thank you for the opportunity to be with you today as the global community works to advance gender equality. There is no journey more important than that of achieving gender equality and ensuring the rights of women. There is no time more important than to do so than now. I have the great honor and privilege to lead a civil society organization called PAI. We are one of the leading advocacy organizations that has been championing universal sexual and reproductive health and rights for 57 years. We advocate to the United States government and on the global stage to ensure that policies, programs, and commitments are supportive, are transformative, and expansive to ensure that women, youth, and other at-risk communities are able to achieve the greatness that every single human being deserves to achieve. In addition to our own advocacy, research, and multi-sectoral collaborations, PAI also works very closely with 120 civil society organizations in almost 40 countries around the world, including Malawi. We provide flexible funding and institutional support, and all of this is guided by a partnership that is committed to equality, equity, co-creation, transparency, and spaces where we can co-learn and share action to make a difference together in the lives of women and youth. The piece, however, that I am most proud of is that 90% of our partner organizations are local, indigenous, homegrown civil society organizations. And many of our peer civil society partners are here with us today in the room. Together, we're part of a global ecosystem that furthers public demand and visibility for comprehensive sexual and reproductive health and rights. As we know, SRHR is a core tenet to achieving gender equality. They are central to the agency, autonomy, empowerment, and more of women, youth, and at-risk communities. If we are to advocate for gender equality, for climate change mitigation, and education and economic empowerment, and much more, we must advance fundamental health care for women and youth. This includes ensuring universal access to family planning. It includes combating gender-based violence and combating teen pregnancy and early marriage. It includes comprehensive sexuality education and so much more. The global need is great, and the questions that we must ask ourselves are, how shall we achieve the global goals for gender equality? How shall we achieve the global goals for sexual and reproductive health and rights? How shall we achieve progress in a way that is sustained, equitable, and grounded in values of inclusion, responsiveness, and decency? There are many ways to answer those questions, but there is one cross-cutting element that is very clear. To achieve any global aspiration, whether that's health for women, or education of youth, or economic prosperity for all, it is local organizations that must lead. When local organizations lead, when local voices inform, when local leaders are at the table, shaping the way forward, then change is certain. You see, no movement toward progress can be assured and sustained without people. The global HIV/AIDS pandemic that all of us witnessed in our lifetime is case in point. 3 decades ago, if you were diagnosed with HIV, it was a death sentence. Today, with access to testing and treatment, being surrounded with communities of love and support, HIV management approaches, the commitments of many policymakers and civil society organizations and investments, HIV is today a chronic disease. I worked in my early public health days developing national HIV/AIDS plans in the Caribbean and in sub-Saharan African countries. And I remind myself of this very often, that what accelerated progress for HIV, what mobilized funding, what pushed for policy change, and the attention of international development leaders, it was everyday people, country-based advocates, civil society organizations who not only said we are outraged and we've had enough, but who are at the table to solve for problems, to advise on the way forward, to come up with a pathway and solutions that supported their siblings, their partners, the people they loved. That's saying nothing about us without us. That's saying nothing without us. Nothing about us without us was true for HIV, and it must be true across any and all development priorities for women, youth, and at-risk communities. And it is civil society that is at the front lines. As civil society members, and again, PAI counts itself in that ecosystem, whether that be those of us advocating in the US, our 12 partners in Malawi over the past several years, or our 120 partners in 36 countries, we are working with local communities. We're partnering with governments to shape policy and ensure achievements are sustained and led by local communities. We're collecting and shaping data, amplifying knowledge, and ensuring that our experiences are shared for the collective good. We have our ear to the ground. We're using our vibrant, productive, committed voices and the wisdom of our leaders, especially our female leaders. I'm looking at you, former President Banda, former President Sirleaf, former President Samba, who have paved the way for the next generation to take courageous steps forward and enable change. Today, the global community is at a powerful and opportune crossroad, where discussions and strategic pivots are underway to support development agendas that are guided by localization and the shifting of power to local communities and local organizations in order to dismantle colonial and paternalistic paradigms that have defined who gets funds and what funding should be used for. It is an urgent strategy and one we are seeing more institutions embrace, and this is the moment for local civil society organizations to guide, inform, and drive the development agenda forward. This is an opportunity to ensure that the words of localization, decolonization, power sharing, and power shifting and aid be more than just words, but that these are the defined and expected ways of working across development. If there's ever been a sector that was born with the greatest brunt of others telling us what we can do, it is women's health and rights. Others have told us what to do with our bodies, our minds, our dreams for far too long, what services we can access, what decisions we can make, what aspirations we can attain. If we don't lift our voices as civil society, as women who are steadfast in shaping change and shepherding that change, then who will do it for us? So what do we need for a vibrant and sustained civil society to drive, protect, and propel change? I propose 5 very short thoughts. The first one is the inclusion of civil society voices, not only to be heard, but to also shape and drive the agenda ahead. Number 2 is to be flexible. This is for our donors, to be flexible with your funding for the work of organizations, for the work that occurs in country. To be flexible because local organizations know what their communities need, what change is required, what efforts will be valued and catalytic. Please trust local organizations. PAI does it every single day, and the results are outstanding. And embrace the fact that communities know best. We need increased unrestricted investments and funding for institutional strengthening and sustenance. These are for the systems of organizations, so organizations can run and grow, so that organizational leaders can develop their staff, so that we can do more with programs. And I acknowledge that institutional support, unrestricted funding, is not exciting to donors all the time. It also doesn't get us featured in the New York Times, but it is what sustains our work long after the grant ends. My 4th point is come to civil society with a mindset of trust, possibility, and positivity, not a mindset of deficiency or insufficiency, and foster open spaces for shared learning, course corrections, and co-creation, where both our successes, our challenges, and our failures are celebrated and safely shared so we can all grow. And last but not least, preserve, promote, and propel the power of a coordinated, cohesive civil society movement. Do not fragment us. Continue to build an ecosystem, because when we are working together, when investments and mechanisms for us to come together, when that is in place, it ensures that women and youth have access to fundamental health care, to modern contraceptives and family planning. It ensures that girls can be safe when they walk to school. It ensures that mothers who are giving birth can survive and thrive and see their babies grow and achieve. It ensures that we can do this work together, because when we are together, we can do more, we can be better, we are able to share our strengths. Yesterday, Her Excellency, former President Joyce Banda said, "We are each other's keepers." We are each other's keepers, is what she told us. And that is what I think this gathering is about. It is through a united movement that supports individual aspirations while convening and providing a secure foundation of support for the collective is what will accelerate gains for gender equality and progress for all people. We must ensure past, present, and future are at the table together so we can benefit from the power of wisdom, the power of insights of today and new ideas to come, and that we do this as one. If we do this, if we have the support to do this, an even bigger, brighter, and highly energized movement of many who stand ready to protect the gains from the past, demand elevated action and investment today, shape our collective journey for a just, equitable future for all, and per the theme of our convening today, to grow and glow against all odds. May we move together in strength, resilience, kindness, and love. Your Excellencies, my fellow advocates and allies, our sisterhood here today. It has been a tremendous honor and a tremendous privilege. Thank you very much.